Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Steak Plains Meats. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And with us today from Ottawa, Canada, on the front line, the Crackpot farmer, Tyler. How are you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Excellent, excellent. We were chatting before the podcast started, and you just got some fresh snow. It sounds like up there. So
6 inches of fresh snow came down last night here.
So tell everybody in America the truth of what the hell's going on, because our media is probably about like y'all's media, and they want to sugarcoat shit. Bunch of proud Canadians are standing up to y'all's crackpot fucking governor or president y'all have, right?
Prime Minister.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. Do you want the long story, or you just want the recap?
The long story.
You tell us the long story.
Okay. Well, you guys know this whole nonsense started a good 2 years ago. With the whole COVID thing coming along was kind of the front for it. And we started to see government overreach like crazy. You guys, same thing down there. They just went power hungry, and it just got to be crazy. People drank the Kool-Aid, went along with it, and played right into their hands. And about 6 weeks ago now, some people up here got the great idea that we were going to do another convoy to Ottawa. They did it in 2019 about the carbon tax, not nearly on this scale, but they thought, well, that worked pretty good. Let's do it again. And it got some pretty good steam real fast. And here, so four-ish weeks ago, I guess it was, the convoy left BC. And my brother-in-law and I decided on the Sunday that we were going to leave. And so we packed up, and a day later, we left Medicine Hat, Alberta, which is around where we're from. And we followed everybody here, 3,700 kilometers to drive here, so just shy of 3,000 miles. And we've been here this will be our fourth weekend here. We've been here for 3 full weeks. We're just about 3 full weeks here. We came here to let our government know that there's a whole lot of people that don't agree with what they're doing, and we're here to make our voices heard, because we don't seem to have any other method of doing that. So we all drove down here to make our voices heard, and we really seem to have poked the bear, so to speak. And so they've been lashing back with all kinds of illegal nonsense. And actually today they're en masse. They got a whole pile of police down here. They're smashing windows, pulling people out of their trucks, made a whole bunch of arrests. They're towing vehicles, like wrecking them to tow them. They've blackmailed tow truck companies and stuff to get them to come down here. They forced them to do their will. And they're trying to break us up. They've tried to starve us out, which didn't work. They arrested our leaders. That didn't work. They've been picking at the fringes for a couple of weeks here. It didn't work. And so now they're finally turning up the heat and doing a whole pile of illegal things. Our government tried to invoke the Emergencies Act, which hasn't been done in like 50 years, over a peaceful protest with bouncy castles. They had to invoke that to give themselves the power they felt they needed to make this happen. And it actually hasn't even gone through all the proper legal channels. It's not actually supposed to be happening yet, but here they are using their force. So things are really, really going down here today, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, things are really happening. We made a statement, though. I'm sure you guys have heard.
Oh, yeah.
It's been looking to Ottawa. There's Canada flags flying all over the world. So that's the gist of it, I guess. We can get into specifics more as you ask some questions, but that's the basic overview of what we're looking at.
What I've seen today is 21 arrested, 21 towed. Is it more than that? Or is that pretty accurate?
I think that's pretty accurate. We're probably watching the same TV station at the moment, and we're talking to other people that are down there too. We're trying to do our jobs of being, I guess I'm kind of a civilian journalist at this point by accident. So we're not down the front lines at the moment. We're going to go down when this podcast is done. But at this point in time, that's the numbers we're hearing too.
And the leader, was your leader arrested today, or was that a couple days ago?
I think there was 3 that have been arrested so far. It wasn't just one. There was Tamara. I think she was arrested yesterday, and I think Mr. Barber was yesterday or the day before, and then Mr. King was done this morning, I think. So at least 3. I think that there is more, but they're not quite as prominent. So yeah, sorry, it's busy in this room here. We got
no, it's no problem.
What do you are the police officers, most of them, supportive of you guys?
I think that deep down inside, I think they are, because especially when this first got started, you walk around, talk to them, they'd smile at you, they'd nod at you. And we've actually heard reports of a few that are turning today, that they won't do what they've been asked to do. Once they got to the front lines, they said, no, I'm not doing this.
I think that's what would happen in America. I think the police officers would be on the citizens. I do.
I don't.
Well, you made me real ashamed to be an American then. I do. I think our police officers would stand with the truck drivers, the majority of them. I think a lot of them would call in sick so they didn't have to lose their job over not doing something. But, and you know, that you can't, they'd get the blue flu is what they'd get. But
so
go ahead.
That actually did happen here to some extent. The Ottawa City Police Chief resigned. They had a staff sergeant resign. And it's really hard for me to confirm this because he goes, I can't go down there and lay my eyes on the paperwork. But we saw a significant reduction in Ottawa City Police around here. And the word that we could find was that there were droves of them that refused to come into work or that resigned. And like I said, they were being asked to do unlawful things. So there are police forces here from all across the country that they brought in to make this happen because a lot of the local forces would not rise to the task.
So let me ask you this. What specifically was it? Was it the vaccine mandates? Was it the lockdowns? Or was it just kind of everything all at once that led to this where you find yourself?
So from what I understand, we didn't drive a big rig here, so we weren't registered with the convoy. We tagged along. It was started because of the international vaccination requirements. If you were not vaccinated, you could not cross that U.S.-American border. And so that was the gist of what it was started with. And it kind of then snowballed into all of the COVID measures and now seem to be to the point, like we didn't come here with our list like this, but it seems that pretty much if there's corruption in any level of law enforcement or government, it's being shaken right now and starting to come out. And so that seems to be kind of what the list is like. If they dropped all the mandates today and all the COVID stuff went away, I still don't think the people would leave.
Right.
There's so much, like you look at the way our prime minister is behaving, like my toddler's better behaved than his is if I took her candy away. And our parliament is a disaster right now. The Liberal Party is imploding. They're fighting like children in there because all the corruption, all that stuff is coming out. They're showing their true colors and they're showing what lengths they'll go to cover up their crap. And so now we're like, oh, okay, well, it's not just about this anymore. We're going to stop going after symptoms and we're going to go after the root cause. We're going to sit here to you guys. All we got to do is sit here and smile and they're hanging themselves.
Right.
I think that's all governments now. Yesterday, our own government here in America, they had the Republican votes to vote against the mandates and all that stuff, but 4 of them, Lindsey Graham and Mitt Romney and them, didn't show up to vote, so the Democrats won because they didn't even show up to vote. I'm sick of them fuckers. I wish we'd drag every one of them little bastards out by their fucking head on both parties in America, and I'm sure y'all are the same way up there. We have let a bunch of rich fuckers decide what's going to happen in the world, and fuck them bastards, every one of them.
And the people say we need to drain the swamp. Well, we're starting to find out it's not just the swamp; it's the whole freaking ocean.
Yes.
And we need to drain the thing both sides.
Yep.
I don't really care who the person is. There's some people on the conservative side up here, Republican as you call it, that seem to be very trustworthy and stuff. And we're like, that's nice. You're still in the system. You've been indoctrinated to some point. You got to go.
Yeah, I'm the same way. We start all over, we'd be better off. What do you think the end game is with you guys? How long are y'all willing to camp out? Because y'all in 3 weeks have done more to help than anything else. Y'all are helping in America too, because people are starting to take notice. And they're talking about a convoy here in America. Well, unless you go to fucking Washington, D.C. and you drag them fuckers out, it ain't going to do shit here in America. But we are for the Canadians. How long do you think y'all – what's the end game for y'all?
So you talk to a lot of the guys here. You say, how long you stay? And they say, just 2 weeks to flatten the mandates.
Yeah.
That's and like now there's heavy wreckers here, and they smash the guys' windows to open their door to pull them out of their trucks. There's a bit of a regrouping going on. They're moving to outside locations, and we'll bring the people back in, and we'll cause problems in other ways. But the people here are really very, very, very determined because we're seeing what's happening just by us existing here. And so the people here are really, really determined. I personally, I'm a farmer. I got to go home here in April to go seeding. And even if I don't go home at that point, I'm going to miss the birth of my second child. And we have the support of our people at home to do that. because we know that we're fighting for our country, and so we're literally willing to hang on as long as it takes to make this happen.
What about hotel rooms? Because in my mind, that would be the first thing. If I was a police, I would try to get rid of was hotel rooms. I mean, are you still able to find hotels down there as this cause grows?
Yeah, there was a time, actually, one of the strategies they had was they bought up all the hotel rooms for the weekend, but people already made their reservations and stuff, so it was hard for people to come in. But yeah, there's hotel rooms open now. They're not going after those the same way. People are staying in Airbnbs and in people's basements, kind of things, to whatever way to make it happen, because the weekends, of course, are when the big celebration happens and all the people are here, and that's why they're trying to move today, is to try to quell what's going to happen on the weekend. But I think there's still going to be a whole pile of people come out here.
And so far, I mean, it's been completely peaceful on the truckers' end. I mean, no, it's not like you saw in America with the peaceful protest of George Floyd, where fucking buildings were burning and windows were getting smashed. It's been totally peaceful. I've seen a couple snowball fights or a couple snow shovel fights, but people just having a good time. But so far, it's been respectful. It's been peaceful. That's right?
Yep, that's exactly it. And that's how we've stirred the hornet's nest so bad, is because they have nothing on us, because we've done nothing but pick up our garbage, shovel the streets, and hug each other and smile and listen to music and have dance parties. That we've not wrecked anything. People say, like, the crime rate here has dropped 90% since the convoy rolled in, and the locals say it is the cleanest place in Ottawa is where the protest is. All the garbage is done, all the snow shoveling is done. There is no cleaner place than where we're parked.
What's amazing too is y'all's little weasel Dick Trudeau. When the Black Lives Matter people here were burning and marching and tearing up streets and shit, he was standing with them and proud of them. But he won't even go down and address a bunch of hardworking Canadians that pay taxes and make y'all's country run. He won't even come down to address y'all or even try to ask what he can do to make things better.
Yep. And yeah, that's what's driven us, because if he'd have come down on day 1 or 2 and talked to us, I bet you we'd all be home right now. But because he didn't, the longer we hold out, the bigger of a hissy fit he throws, the more things he tries to pull in to help himself, the bigger the hole he's digging, and the more rope he's stretching out to wrap around his own neck.
Well,
because he wouldn't talk to us.
He's lucky Biden's in office, because they're both two fuckheads. Because if Trump was in office right now, we'd be putting sanctions on Canada, just like we do other countries that freeze people's money, take from them, and put them in jail for no reason at all. If y'all were Uruguay or somewhere like that, the United States would be slapping sanctions on y'all right now.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Trudeau and Mr. Biden have both about the same amount of backbone and the same amount of spine, and they're both pulled by the same puppet masters. So it's kind of predictable what's happening.
Now, the headline that I saw today is that children are being removed from the front lines by Ottawa police. Is there any truth to that?
So I am not omnipresent, and I can't fly, so I can't see the entire front line. But I've seen videos of kids who are at the front line. There are kids who are here, definitely. From what I understand, they are not being forced to be there. Mm-hmm. They're like, this is what we need to do to protect our democracy. There's a lot of immigrants here, like Polish populations, that kind of thing, who've seen this before. And so I'm sure that there probably have been some kids removed from the front line because they're up there, because their parents are trying to show them what needs to be done. But like when they're saying that kids are being held out in front as human shields, that's a load of crap.
Right. They're just up there participating in their, for us, it would be the First Amendment, but just participating in their freedom of speech.
Yep. And it's a totally peaceful protest, but it is a nasty roundup.
The article that I read suggested that the police, they're going to come in with big crackdowns tonight, so they're getting the kids out of the way for, I guess, a threat of stronger forces by the police force. I don't know. So, I mean, that's just, you're going to have to wait and see, I guess, what happens tonight.
I don't know what stronger forces are going to be. And at this pace, they'll have probably most of this downtown area here cleared out anyways. Mm-hmm. A lot of the trucks have left in the process of being relocated. And I had another point here. I'm trying to remember what the heck it was. But yeah, like a lot of the trucks have been removed. And I don't think there's going to be a whole lot more forces they could bring in. Like there's hundreds and hundreds of them. They got their riot gear on, the helmets and everything. We actually have horses, because that's the thing here. So there's actually some mounted units here, which are being used for crowd control and stuff. So I don't know what more forces they could bring out or how much more aggressive they could get.
I'll tell you what, in America, I don't know about Canada, but in America, If you took our truckers and you had to take any police force in the country and they had to go take on our truckers, I don't think they want to do that. I think there's a whole lot more truckers and people on the truckers' side, because it's not people aren't against the police. It's against fucking Trudeau and the fucking parliament. That's the problem.
Yep.
It's not an anti-cop deal at all. And a lot of them cops don't want no part of it because they're on you guys' side, because they're one of y'all. They're sick of this shit.
Yeah, some of them I think are going to have trouble sleeping for quite a while.
Yeah, they don't want no part of that shit because they agree with you. I mean, that would be like me fighting against my own beliefs just because my job was that way. It'd be hard to do that. I mean,
it would be.
Everybody in the world is sick of fucking politicians. We all are. And this is it's fixing to pop in the whole country or the whole world. All countries are getting sick and tired of this shit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
and for Canada to be the one who stands up and gets things started, like how pissed off a bunch of Canadians got to be to drive 3,000 miles across their own country in the middle of freaking January at -30 to go and camp out in front of their parliament and say, hey, listen.
Has any politicians come down and talked to y'all at all?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how familiar you are with our political structure. So our members of parliament, MPs, they're elected officials that elect, they represent certain regions in every province. They actually have to go through us to get to their work every day. And so some of the, especially the right side leaning ones, they will walk and they will talk to people when they go to work every day. So they all have to pass through us to some extent. But there have been some right off the bat that came down and took pictures with us and talked with everybody. And tried to engage, whether it was like trying to talk us down or just to find out what we were doing. There have definitely been some come down, but there are a lot, especially on the Democrat or the Liberal side up here, that they avoid us as much as they possibly can. They think that we're terrorists and all of that.
I do like y'all's political system where Trudeau had to speak the other day and that lady chewed on his ass.
What is that?
It's like the Speaker of the House, but he had to talk in Parliament.
Yep.
But how does he get his ass chewed out? Because we need that in America. How can we?
Our president is not president. He don't fucking know if he's shitting his pants or eating Fruit Loops. Their president is a little fucking son of a commie dictator from fucking Cuba. Everybody knows he's a love child. And he had to speak on the floor, and this lady chewed on his fucking ass. And then he made a comment about German swastikas to a Jewish lady, right?
Yep, that's exactly what our prime minister his main forte is name calling.
Yeah. You know why he does that shit? Because nobody has drug him out and slapped the fuck out of him. And if he was a real dude in real life, he'd have the shit beat out of him. He'd only do that one more time.
Exactly. Yep. But unfortunately, he's quite a bit of a spoiled person who's only ever been had to do nice, easy jobs, never had to really interact with working people or understand how working people function. He doesn't know how the real world works.
Just like our politicians in Washington, D.C.
Here's something that So Canada condemns Cuba's harsh sentencing following the July 2021 protest, strongly advocates for freedom of expression and the right for peaceful assembly free from intimidation. We stand with the people of Cuba.
On the same day that they roll out as many police as they can possibly find to smash windows and drag people out of their trucks and then wreck their property while moving.
Jesus.
Yep. Same government.
His real dad had a lot more balls than he did, though. I'll give him that.
Yep.
Trudeau's just Castro love child.
Is he?
Yeah, everybody knows that shit. His mom went down there and got banged by fucking Castro. Yeah.
I was down in Cuba here a few years ago. My wife's fluent in Spanish, so if you're fluent in Spanish, you can talk to the people who aren't groomed to be the tourist interactors. You can actually talk to the real people if you can speak their language. And we all know that Trudeau is Castro's son. We know it. They said it's fact. Margaret came down here and spent all her time with Castro. They said that's fact. So, I mean, it doesn't make any difference.
Right.
He's still the person that he is. But yeah, even Cuba, they know it.
Yeah, it's a known fact. And she got gangbanged by the Rolling Stones.
Oh, goodness, Jeff. Now we're just...
Well, Keith Richard banged her. We know that, too. It's a hell of a story.
Doesn't mean it was a gangbang.
She was a lot of fun. She was a good-looking lady, too.
So, do you... If it's been a month now, I can't... How much longer do you think that the Canadian government is willing to fight this fight?
I don't know. I mean, they just tyranny knows no bounds. That's my brother-in-law Jordan. He's standing here. That's my assistant. Keeps me functioning. I don't know how long, because I think this is probably the biggest force that they can really muster without bringing in the military, which has already refused to touch this. And now I think what they've done is, instead of us having, all being locked in a little place, they're going to push us to the outskirts of town. And now they're going to have a mobile problem to deal with. It will pop up somewhere all the time. And the thing is too, even if they do manage to completely squash anything here in our capital, Ottawa, it's all across our entire province. We saw all the borders that went down, and we still have daily or weekly parades around our legislative buildings in each province. And people are just they're not listening anymore. They're not listening anymore. They're like, in my hometown, half people are masking. The businesses aren't enforcing it anymore. They're fed up with it, and they're starting to see the true colors, and they're just not listening. As a whole country, we're just starting to not listen anymore.
Do you know what they're arresting? What are the charges that they're bringing on these people that they are arresting? Is it domestic terrorism? Is it unwillingness to cooperate?
I think it's just mischief. And if it's anything like what happened here a couple of weeks ago when they raided one of our bases, they're probably going to load them all up, scare a whole bunch of people, drive them a couple blocks around the corner, kick them out, and say, get out of here.
Right.
But I imagine there are going to be some charges stick, but a lot of the protesters getting arrested on the front lines, if they aren't the operator of one of the vehicles or not occupying the vehicle at that time, it's because they're, yelling in the cop's face, being unruly, being nasty and stuff. And so they're getting removed from the situation. They may not even be charged. It's hard to say, because there's a whole lot of legal protocols not being followed around here.
I think that's pretty much normal everywhere. You said in the small town, small town, they're not doing any of the mandates anymore. And I think that's the way it is all over America. You get outside of the cities,
urban area.
How the urban areas, ain't nobody wearing a fucking mask. And, we don't even have a vaccine mandate like y'all do. But there's nobody doing any of that shit anymore. People have had enough. And then when you watch the Super Bowl or something, or you see all the politicians get together, they ain't a fucker wearing a mask anywhere.
And then you see the whole freaking building. There's no masks anywhere too. So the rules for me, but not for me.
I didn't see Trudeau wearing a mask when he was getting his ass chewed out on the fucking floor and looking like a dumbass.
Only when he sits down. When he's standing up speaking, he doesn't have to. But as soon as he's not speaking, he has to put it back on, because that's logic.
Yeah, them fucking air particles when you're sitting down are different than the ones when you stand up.
It's how it works in a restaurant too. When you're walking to your table, it's dangerous, but as soon as you sit down, you're safe.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. So the majority of the Canadian citizens are behind y'all. I'm assuming y'all have got 20% maybe of the people that are liberals that are buying into this that think y'all are just bad.
I'm not sure what exact numbers are, and of course polls are only a guess, right? But I'm going from what I'm seeing as on the comments and stuff on my videos. Yeah, there's a very serious portion of people still, probably in that 20 to 30% range, that have drunk an awful lot of Kool-Aid, and they think that we are all bonkers, and they think that we're gonna, if we remove the mask mandates and the vax passports, that the entire population is going to be dead in a couple months. But I think I'm gonna hazard a guess to say 30 to 40% of the population wholeheartedly agrees with what we're after, and then there's going to be some that are kind of gray zone in the middle that they like their freedoms back, but they maybe don't believe the whole globalist agenda, all that kind of stuff.
I saw something a couple days ago. Canada, what mandates did they remove? Something on Valentine's Day, they got rid of something. Was that where Americans can maybe go up there?
A lot of what's been dropped so far is all provincial. As far as I know, the federal government hasn't really budged on anything. Okay. So as far as it's just the provinces, because each province has their own rules in terms of what you can and can't do inside the province and that. So Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec, and I think Ontario have all made serious steps to either dropping things entirely or rapidly accelerating what they're doing. I think BC is the only province that's going bonkers and going the other way at the moment. So things have definitely happened. And remember, it's not because of the truckers. It was just that science has changed. Irrelevant. It has 18 wheels, but the science changed. So yeah, things have definitely been moving, not as fast as we want, but there have been some changes.
Now, can I go to Alberta or Saskatchewan and go waterfowl hunting now? Can I cross the border without a vaccine, or does the federal government control the border? That's what I'm asking, though.
I don't actually know the specific answer to that question because, Jordan, you know it?
So
this is Jordan, by the way. You guys say
nice to see you, bud.
I do. So our cross border, that is federal. So that is part of the reason that everybody is here. It's straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. So you will still need to be vaccinated to cross the federal border to get into Canada.
That makes that.
So really, nothing has changed much then.
It was more lip service than anything from the provinces.
Well,
provinces, because it's a federal border, not provincial, they can't do anything about it.
Right.
So same with you guys. Biden controls the borders, but not the states. Right?
Yeah, Texas is basically trying to shut down our southern border, but the federal government's fighting us We want everything else fucking secure in Ukraine, but by God, we want our southern border open. And so,
Yeah, exactly.
they can't get the CIA can't sell their fucking fentanyl if the border's shut down. So that's what that's all about. But that's what I was wondering, because we keep hearing that Alberta and Saskatchewan's open. Well, being selfish and being in the waterfowl business, we're like, well, we can drive up there now without a vaccine. But the federal government does control that. The RC,
yeah,
okay,
they do.
That's what I figured was going on there. That was
Once you cross the border, then inside the provinces things are different. But I miss you waterfowl hunters. I'm a farmer in rural Alberta, so you guys come up and it's pretty cool to watch you guys work. So hopefully you can come up soon. I miss you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you guys, when the mandates drop, give us a call.
We are the largest waterfowl podcast in the world, and you've just opened yourself up to 100,000 people now.
You'll be all right.
Well, the economy has been tanked, so we need 100,000 waterfowlers out.
It killed y'all's.
I actually
Go ahead.
I have a friend who's from Texas, actually, who comes up and has our area very well mapped out. I have a really good working relationship with him for waterfowl hunting. So if people contact me, I'm just going to send them to him.
So y'all, but y'all noticed a big difference the last 2 years in your economy without the hunters from from America coming up there. Then
We didn't. Well,
without anybody, right?
Well, yeah, without anybody. But in that specific aspect, it's been really weird this year because we had a massive, massive drought. So there was no standing water this year. There was very little grain to be had. There was very few birds to start with. So our hunters were able to pull some loopholes. They themselves were able to come up, even though they weren't jabbed, but all their clients had to be. And so they were still able to do business, but there simply wasn't enough animals to go around to really make a good season of it.
Yeah, and without Americans, our guiding industry has been hit.
Yeah.
Outfitting, they've struggled really, really hard.
Whenever this first started, we were just talking to so many people, and for I guess 2 years now, I guess Americans were allowed up there this last year, but they had to be vaccinated. But the year before that, no Americans. The border was completely shut down, and we talked to people that had just bought outfitters up there, bought zones, and they're like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We've got $100,000 sunk into this lodge and the zones, and we got a kitchen staff, and I can't get anybody up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine? It just blows my mind to think that in 3 years' time, we went from people that could work and you could count on things 5 years down the road, plan and make a living, to our own government shutting us out of making a living. And it hasn't affected us here at all, hardly. I mean, none at all. Our business is as good as it's ever been. But especially the guys in Canada, it just blows my mind. And the fishing industry is bigger than the hunting industry in Canada. And all them people that go up there to go fishing, and they just didn't want their money at all. And that blows my mind that you would want your people to starve just so you can control them.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we're even seeing that here in Ottawa. Some of the locals, especially local government, not necessarily the locals specifically, but they're like, oh my goodness, these protesters are causing businesses to be closed. And so you're worried about the last 2 weeks, but about the last 2 years. Businesses that dare to open, you may have seen that, I think it was a Twitter post from the Tim Hortons that's actually in the building that we might be in right now. They're like, we love the truckers. They mop the floors, they clean the bathrooms, they pick up the garbage. We love them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's an old saying that Stalin went to a bunch of people, and there was a chicken walking around, and he grabbed the chicken and he pulled all its feathers out, and it was bleeding everywhere, and it was walking around, and he threw some corn on the ground, and it came up to him to eat, and said, no matter how bad you treat someone, if you feed them, you can control them. And there's a lot of truth to that.
Yep, there is. Definitely. And that's the CERB thing here, the government, the guaranteed minimum income, pretty much. As long as people were receiving that, they would do whatever it was that they were told to do because they thought the government had their best interests in mind.
Now, y'all don't have the gun rights that we have, and so
unfortunately,
do what?
Yeah. I said unfortunately
that's
not.
Right. And that makes a big difference in America because it gives us a little bit of leverage that y'all don't have. So they've taken y'all's pistols and stuff away from y'all, what, 20, 30 years ago?
No. So, I mean, the difference between Canada and the U.S., you guys have constitutional rights, privileges.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So we have the privilege of owning vehicles. We have the privilege of owning firearms. Now, when it comes to handguns, they're restricted, but you can still own them. It is a pain in the ass.
You can only take them to the range and limited transportation. A whole pile of bureaucratic nonsense.
So, like, if we had a truckers' convoy in America, every truck would have a pistol in it, probably.
Yeah.
And better not.
That's what I'm saying. So they're not pulling off guns and stuff. Do y'all have the right to assemble like we do?
Theoretically, we have the right to peaceful assembly.
What's happening now makes us really question that right.
Yeah.
Well, the last years has made everybody question our rights. We have a Charter of Rights and we have a Bill of Rights, and Trudeau and his party have overrun that. So
y'all, I haven't seen one Target store get looted or burned up there yet.
No TVs are getting stolen.
Nothing. Not everybody's walking around with flat screens and shit. In America, we do that, and our Democrats all praise them. You know, I've really been embarrassed that our Republican politicians haven't stood with you guys and made a big statement that they support you. Because if Trump was in office, they would, because they were scared of him, and so they don't do nothing. But my hat's off to you, and I stand with y'all. And what do you think? I think Trudeau is gone by summertime.
I don't know about summertime, but I think like on the global stage, he's made an absolute disgrace of himself. And like 3 MPs, so 3 members of his caucus have defected. And there's rumors, of course, that more feel the same way but don't quite have the balls to do it. So like his own party is imploding. And the whole country, or most of the country, hates him. And everybody on the global stage is laughing at him. So, yeah, I think he's finished. It's just a matter of when.
The 2 biggest spineless fuckers running the countries are back-to-back, Canada and the United States right now.
Yep.
Well, and once again, you guys, your media will be the biggest help to us, right?
We don't trust our media no more.
No, but I mean, you right now, this podcast,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
You guys are what's going to get this out to the rest of the world, because, we're doing our best we can, but it's tough.
So you mentioned, you have privileges, not rights. When was Trudeau's last election? When was he elected in?
This past fall, we had another election.
How often do you guys have those up there? Is it 4 years like in America?
Supposed to be 4 years, but then he called an election actually early. Yeah, and so he keeps calling elections, and he's not limited to 2 terms either. He can keep going until he stops getting elected.
So why did he call an election?
Because he has a minority government, and he was aiming for a majority. Mm-hmm. So he figured he would get his majority, and once again, he ended up with a minority government.
He spent $300 million, I think it was, and all the time and all the propaganda, and they got 1 extra seat. That was all that happened.
So he can just call an election whenever he wants. Hey, we're having an election this fall.
Yes.
Wow.
Can't they recall him, though? I saw a deal today that the Parliament could overthrow him. Is that true?
I'm not sure on the entire, you guys have an impeachment process. We have a way of doing a non-confidence vote, but that is done through Parliament, that the people can't call for it. I mean, we can petition for it, but we can't do anything about it. That has to be done in Parliament.
I wonder if these governments realize that, and like with the White House, I was in the White House 24 months ago, almost exactly 24 months ago, and it was still the same way it was for 50 years. Now they've built all these big fences and these tall fences and shit, because if the people in this country want to overthrow a government, it wouldn't be real hard for 100,000 people to stream into a place like that and to do that. And I don't think, sometimes these guys start thinking they're more powerful than they really are, because all you are is a voice of the people. And both governments have lost the voice of the people, from your parliament to our senators to everybody. And I think Trudeau's on a lot thinner ice than Biden is. Biden has got the media that's covering for him still, and I think he's in big, big trouble also. But I don't think Trudeau makes summer. I really don't.
I hope not. Really do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the sooner the better, right? But
our media is still trying to desperately prop it up, but they've been spinning this whole thing like crazy, and they've been, through little ground up media people like us, they've been losing their credibility because they try to spin a story, but then they get counter. There's so many cameras out there, it would make your head spin because people don't trust their media, and so they're losing their credibility really fast. And so I think if our left-leaning corrupted government officials don't have a media to support them, there's not a whole lot of voice for them.
I saw him take a lady today in Ottawa to jail, and she wasn't doing anything wrong except reporting what was going on. And someone filmed her, and the police officer was very polite to her. He was doing his job, but he arrested her. And I'm thinking to myself, that's going to be seen in 100 different old ladies' houses today that are on on Trudeau's side, that are going to be like, you know what? They arrested that lady and she didn't do anything wrong. And every time that happens, if you guys will stick to this, and if it takes y'all till April or May, you're going to get a lot done, because every day they're starting to lose a percentage of people on the other side that are for them.
Yep, exactly.
Do you know of anybody that has had their bank account frozen or any of that? Because I've heard that's kind of going to be the next step in this.
So I personally, I don't know anybody firsthand, but the friend of the gentleman we're staying with, he showed me evidence on his phone that their account was frozen. We talked to a couple guys a couple days ago that knew, like, they had friends who were trying to send money, their accounts were frozen. So it's definitely happened. Me personally, the farm that I am a part of and a part owner of was called last night and directly threatened to freeze our accounts and seize a truck and get me arrested if we didn't move our truck. So we did move our truck last night, which is actually pretty fortuitous because then it changes our situation today. But there have been a lot of threats about it, and we actually have seen some evidence of it, which is just...
That's crazy.
You take a man's money, and you're really that ice got a lot thinner a lot faster.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, you know, I have a friend in Canada, and he's been taking money out of his account every day, and he's not involved on any of this, but he's been sucking money out of his account every day, and he said other guys that work with him are doing the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, it's just scary to think that if they would go so far as to freeze your money and the way that you would pay for just goods and services, what link would they not go to stop you guys?
Well, and that's what we're asking. So how much further will they go if it's not a peaceful protest?
Right.
I mean,
they've already shown by doing this that they're willing to starve you out.
The Secretary of Commerce, I don't know what y'all call her, I guess she come out and said that anybody that was a Trump supporter, they were going to freeze their deals. Why would an American president have anything to do with what's going on in Canada? An ex-American president. I can't imagine us in America saying if you sponsor Trudeau, we're going to freeze your bank accounts.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's stupid.
Yep.
They're
Sorry.
They're scared to death of this movement that's happening right now.
Oh yeah.
And you guys are you're right there on the front line. So as soon as we get off here, you said you're going to make your way down to the front lines. And what have you got planned for today and then this weekend?
We've got now a friend here with an actual legitimate camera. We talked to some more friends. We've got ourselves some press passes, so we're going to go down and try and get some good first-hand information, get some good footage and stuff, and probably come back here and keep trying to spread it around and make sure we get the truth pumped out all over the country without getting ourselves arrested, of course, because it's hard to do our job if we're in jail. So we're just going to and keep getting the truth out for as long as we have to.
Where does Trudeau live at? Does he live in Ottawa?
He's supposed to, but he has many places he hides out, and whenever there's trouble comes, he tries to get as far away as possible. So he's probably surfing right now.
What a pussy.
I did see that. Did they just barricade Parliament? Did they just put fences and stuff around it?
Yep. Yeah, they added 2 layers. If they put an 8-foot high construction fence around it yesterday, all the government buildings got 8-foot high construction fences yesterday, and then they added another barrier in behind that as well in a lot of places. So yeah, they made sure that there's fences around everything. They made sure they knew. Let us know they were really scared.
That does show they're scared though. When you're worried about keeping the people out that own that building, and that's the people's building, then you got some serious freaking issues. I don't, our politicians, they don't want to be disrupted in their glamour life. And if we come to this in America, I hope to hell we go to every member of every senator and representative and barricade around their fucking house and cause them uphill. Especially the guy ones, because if you can get that guy's wife bitching at him, there ain't nothing worse than listening to your wife bitch at you.
Yep, perfect, exactly. I think you guys have the tenacity and the numbers to make it happen too. We're us Canadians are pretty peaceful people. We bump into each other on the protest, and we're still saying sorry. You guys down there, you get a little more pissed off and a little more aggressive, and I think it you're going to watch what happens up here. You still be peaceful, I hope, but there's a lot more potential for things to happen down there with you guys.
So what is it like down there? So I've seen pictures, but it's just trucks from just stretched out.
So when we rolled in here, I think the convoy is rumored to be like 200 and some kilometers long, a large portion of which has gone home. They only let a very, very small portion, like 5% of them actually get in here to downtown Ottawa, which is where our government buildings are. And there's only roads on one side of our government buildings. So there's the main street that runs in front of all the buildings was plugged full of trucks this morning and has been for most of the past 3 weeks. Some had to leave. So, we shuffle trucks in from here, there, and everywhere. And then some of the side streets off of that one were also full. So we didn't take up that big of a place. A lot of the residential streets were still left open, one lane of traffic in a lot of places. We didn't plug where the bus lines run and where the underground train goes. So we didn't actually create that big of a disturbance to the people. We were mostly just plugging up where all the government buildings and offices are. But then of course, there's a lot of people that are living in hotels and stuff, and their vehicles are on the outside. And we have lots of bases where vehicles are stationed outside of this area.
Right. And then are you guys able to get gas now, or are they still trying to freeze you out from getting fuel?
So like I said, today things are really in flux with all the police being here. But when they put that little thing into place where it was going to be illegal to haul fuel up the hill, it slowed down about 50% of our capacity for one day. And then since then, we've been probably 95%. They pretty much, after the first day, they just kind of looked the other way and tried to ignore. They tried to take, the odd person's jerry can, but then when you get surrounded by 50 people with cameras asking you questions, they backed off real quick. And then there was the joke, of course, people carrying there's an army carrying empty jerry cans up the hill. You guys probably saw all that. Up until today, getting fuel up the hill, the worst part of it was making sure you had the logistics to buy it, test it, haul it, and get it to where it needed to go.
If truckers would just stop for 5 days and not take a load, no trucker anywhere. I'm talking about the guy delivering bread, everything. You'd get a ton of shit done, because the person sitting at home right now that's eating bonbons and watching a big screen TV and not doing shit, they don't think about it. But when they call that Grubhub or Uber Eats, or they go to eat somewhere and there ain't no fucking food, after about 5 days, they're going to be on y'all's side real fast.
Oh, yeah. But, of course, it's really hard to coordinate that move.
Right.
But if that ever happens, in 5 days, shit in the big cities will switch real fast.
Yep. Definitely.
Have you noticed this growing? How did you, what was your first video that kind of went viral, for lack of a better term?
I don't actually know. I think, there's two things that happened. One, I was doing factual reports and they started to get shared around pretty quick. And then when things started to really heat up here, lots of pressure, lots of rumors and stuff, and I was able to squash them. I think it got popular slowly. And then we had Viva Fry. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of him. He's a lawyer from Montreal that was doing live streams down to like 4-hour-long live streams with like 20 or 30,000 people watching. He stumbled into our trailer effectively the one day, and we kind of took off from there.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, listen, guys, y'all be safe up there. I don't know what trick they've got up their sleeve, but be safe up there. Mind your P's and Q's. It sounds like you guys are doing everything by the letter of the law. So, really, unless it's more government overreach, there's no sense in them targeting you guys. But it just there's no telling what they're willing to do to make this go away. So
they're desperate.
Stay safe.
They're desperate because the deep state, which is the global elite, are worried because all their shit's coming out, and they're going to do anything. We're trying to start a war between Russia and Ukraine to cover up all the Ukraine bullshit. That's what that's about.
Oh, yeah.
It ain't got a damn thing to do with Russia and Ukraine. It's got to do with Joe Biden and the deep state and all that shit with that president over there. Anyways, if we can do anything to help you guys, you got my message. You message us, you cell phone us, anything we can to help you guys, we stand with you. And if there's anything we can do down here in America, you please let us know.
Sounds good. Yeah.
We appreciate it, and just spread the word. Keep it peaceful, because that pisses them off more than anything.
I think you're right.
That's exactly right.
God bless you guys, and y'all be safe and have a good weekend, okay?
Be safe.
Thank you.
Bye.
Interesting gentlemen.
Yeah.
Very proud of them. Their little town's got to be proud of them.
He can go till the first week of April. That's 6 weeks from now.
Yep, and I don't think Trudeau's going to last that long. He looked awful desperate on the floor of Parliament. I mean, really desperate because he was speaking and he was getting drowned out by the people in the background.
Booing
And
him?
yeah, when people start speaking out against you, you're in trouble. Just like Hillary Clinton, she did that speech yesterday. Why the hell anybody in the Democrat Party think they need her doing anything? It's amazing. And
She's
was
running this year.
Yeah, and she was getting lock her up chance at a Democratic deal yesterday.
Really?
Yes, people are done with them. The deep state is deeped out. I think they finally have met their match, and I think Trump exposed what was really going on that we didn't know about. We had ideas, but I really think that a lot of it's come out in the open now, and that's why we're fighting in Ukraine. That's
To change the news
we're not
cycle?
fighting. We're wanting to get a war going over there, because if Russia takes over Ukraine, that president is out, and then he would be able to be indicted and talked to.
So everybody that shared that Canada's now open or whatever Valentine's Day, that's not at all the case.
I guess not. That's why I didn't know. But I thought that was what was going to be happening there. Do you have the camera on that?
No.
You need to put it on there.
We just had a Skype guest.
So you can't put it on there?
Might have to change all the
Okay.
inputs and stuff. The way our slow-ass internet works, probably not going to work anyway. Is this the one you're talking
Yes. No, they didn't show it all. He's such a little twat weasel anyways. This is it.
about? He looks Cuban.
Yeah, it's because he is.
I don't want to hear you talk, lady.
But it's not going to show the whole deal. The deal I saw was just him talking, and he was right going back a little bit. Go back a little bit. No, way. You was the wrong way.
I went back, Jeff.
Well, no, where you were at, I meant go back just a little bit. Right there. When he talks about the swastikas and shit. She's going to be talking the whole time.
I don't need to hear this. Bitch.
Yeah, I wouldn't
can't
worry
even
about it.
fucking understand her. Trudeau
Anyways,
throws gas on the fire.
yeah, he's losing. He's lost it.
I've
mean,
never really looked at him, but he looks fucking Canadian.
That's because his Canadian, you mean Cuban.
I mean Cuban.
His
sorry.
dad is fucking Castro.
Who does he say his dad is?
Trudeau, his dad was the prime minister.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Canadian politics. Walks out.
Canada's Prime Minister is pandering to politics by division, stoking anger and fear. The rhetoric he used towards those Canadians
Foothills,
who support
Alberta.
the mandate adds fuel to the fire. These are not the actions of a Prime Minister. A senior member of the Liberal caucus has publicly criticized his tone, his language,
So I wonder who that
approach to the pandemic.
Ruth Bader of Canada is.
Senior members of the Liberal caucus are speaking loud and
The Ruth Bader.
Yeah, that lady that's like running this thing. Her.
Oh,
Or is that a
it's
is that
a guy.
a dude? Oh,
It's
that's a guy. It doesn't show him walk out.
You think you meant Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House?
No, I meant it looks like fucking
Oh.
Ruth Bader
Oh,
Ginsburg.
well, he does.
I don't know. It's,
Anyways, I got a lot of problems over there.
Who would have thought? And I don't mean this tacky to my.
Then you might as well not say it
my
because you're going to
friends
come
to the
across. Here he goes.
But who would have thought that it would be Canada? A peaceful, very friendly country. I don't believe they've ever had a civil war. I could be wrong.
I don't know
mean,
anything about Canadian history, but you poke a bear in the eye long enough, and somebody's finally going to stand up and beat your ass with that stick.
I mean, that'd be like Sweden getting, overthrowing their.
So now you're going to piss off two people in two countries.
No. I'm just saying that they've always been this relatively peaceful place.
You mean Switzerland?
Switzerland and Canada. They've always been this
So now
relatively
three countries. You said Sweden, Switzerland, and Canada. Switzerland is
the Swedes.
The Swiss are the ones that
The
stay out
Swiss.
of everything.
Yeah. All these places are relatively.
There's a difference between Sweden and Switzerland, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's been a relatively peaceful country for all these years, and then they're the ones that are
Standing up.
standing up and doing this. I didn't think it
Yep.
would be Canada. I mean, Australia. They're
They've lost their fucking mind down there.
they're a country of fucking criminals. So I figured it'd be them.
Now
honestly.
it's 4 countries. Let's go for 5. What other country can you piss off some people? We have people from all over the world listen to us.
I understand.
So who are you going to piss off
Do you
now?
think Australia doesn't know that they're a country full of criminals?
That's where they were founded. They don't all count. They're not all criminals now.
I didn't say that they were.
Who was taking care of the criminals down there?
The Great Britain.
You don't think there was any people that were just guards down there? Or do you think they just let them go and it was just criminals only?
What do you mean?
You said it's a country full of criminals.
It was a country found. It was where they went to exile these people.
But you don't think there was any regular people with the exiled people?
Aborigines. And then that's how we got Crocodile Dundee.
All right.
What are you driving at?
I'm dragging at not everybody that started the country of Australia, other than the Aborigines, were all criminals. Not all of them were criminals.
Who else was there?
That's my point. There were other people there.
Who?
Well, probably whoever was in charge of the stockade where they put them down at.
What a country. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine being Queen Elizabeth and fucking all that off?
Australia?
When she took
It's
over,
all-
they controlled everything.
Everything is fucking poisonous and snakes and spiders and shit. I wouldn't.
I don't want
give it
Australia
away,
either.
too.
See the dude get eat up by the shark yesterday there?
No.
Oof.
Bad deal.
Yeah, guy was freaking snorkeling or something and big old great white ate him.
Ate him?
Yeah.
How do you see that?
Well, it's all over stuff right now.
Oh. He eats an Australian news anchor? I don't want. I mean,
I don't want to watch it, so.
I've got no.
But yes, it
I got
does.
no desire to go to Australia, but all I was saying is I didn't think that it would be Canada that would.
I would
be
agree
at the
with
front lines.
I would
of
agree with you on that.
this.
And I think our politicians are all scumbags anyways.
Yep.
But they're going to learn from what's happening in Canada
I
because
don't
they don't
think
want
they
to. I hope. Well, who knows? I don't think we're going to have a convoy. We've already got enough people standing up on stuff. The American people have had enough with our politicians of all parties. I like Ronnie Jackson. I think he's a pretty good dude. I think we got a really good Congress, but he's a first-year guy. But anybody that's been there very long, I think we got a lot of problems. Anytime you got somebody like fucking Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton that's even a chance to become president, something's wrong. They've been in establishment way fucking too long. And we just keep recycling these old fuckers all the time.
Do you think that America could handle Clinton Trump in 2024? That fight again?
If it's a fair election, it won't even be close.
No,
I can't
no,
imagine
no,
that they would have I can't imagine that the Democrats would actually consider running Hillary Clinton.
Well, Biden's not going to make it that long.
There's a poll today I saw out, who's more popular, Kamala Harris or Clinton, and it was like a dead fucking heat. Nobody trusts either one of them. I mean, you would think there would be a bright young John F. Kennedy of the Democratic Party, of whoever it would be, that someone that could relate to America. Because I'm not a Republican. I'm more of a Republican than I am a fucking Democrat, but I'm a conservative, and I like Donald Trump. I don't like the Republican Party at all. Mm-hmm. I don't trust them bastards either. But you would think that the Democrats would have someone that would be appealing to everybody.
What about the Republicans?
Donald Trump is. Donald Trump had 72 million votes last time. He's going to be a shoo-in if he wants to run. Everybody would vote for him again. All those 72 million people would vote for him again in a heartbeat. They're going to have a hard time cheating to get 81 million votes again.
You said this John F. Kennedy fella that, unites everybody. And even John F. Kennedy didn't either. I mean,
Well, he got shot.
Well, no, not that. But if you look at that election, it was really close with Nixon.
He probably lost that election, and they cheated in Texas. Is how he won that election.
So see there.
But I'm talking about united their party. I'm not talking about the country. I'm talking about united. I may have said country. I meant united their party, because Hillary Clinton is not liked by most of the Democrats now, and they don't trust her now. And the deep state is not. The Democratic Party split anyways. You got AOC in them. You got all that fucking bunch. And you got others. And Nancy has tried to cater to them to kind of keep herself in. And now she's not catering with them. And now everything that the Democrats have pushed, now they're against all of a sudden. And I saw where, Tulsi Gabbard spoke out today against the Democrats. So they got a lot of problems in the House.
She was going to be my person, but half of the Democratic Party doesn't like her. It's just fractured.
If she ran against anybody but Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis, I might vote for her.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. If I had to vote for Tulsi Gabbard or Lindsey Graham, I'd vote for her in a heartbeat.
You just worry about when they're going to get that call.
Who?
Whoever they put up there, like, okay, it's time for you to toe the party line.
She's not going to.
You hope not.
She's not going to.
Because I really like Tulsi.
I do too, and that's why she didn't do good in that primary, because she didn't buck the county line like gay Mayor Pete.
Right.
You know, he sold himself out. If he would have stayed in the fucking primaries, he might have been the fucking deal. But they knew he wasn't. They didn't want him in there.
Right.
They want to control him. They want to control Kamala. She thinks she's so fucking smart. That dumb bitch has been controlled by day one by them people.
Yeah.
And they own her. And I don't know. Our politics is as fucked up as their politics are.
But it's at a global scale now. Like,
Huge.
10 years ago, you could point at different countries and like, they're fucked up, they're fucked up, they're fucked up. I'm not going to name names because
You don't want to piss them off.
I don't want to go for 5.
The whole world is fucked up
But
right
now you've seen the chink in everybody's armor.
Yep.
Like it's the places that you thought were among the freest in the world, not at all.
No.
Far from it, as a matter of fact. Now.
No. And it's weird. Small town America, ain't nothing changed for us at all. It's changed, but it's back to normal for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy the route we're going as a society right now, and it gets worse and worse all the time.
Anyway, hopefully this changes some things.
Yep. Anyways, God bless y'all. Thank y'all for listening to the podcast. We appreciate it very much. Check out all our sponsors. And goodbye.
Go check out all of our great sponsors. Check out Gundog Outdoors, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Steak Plains Meats, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Lucky Duck, Dirty Duck Coffee, Shin Gear Waders, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, Dive Bomb Industries, and Alpha Outdoors.